a video on making a rough, quick chicken liver pate. I've got a function. I've got a gentleman coming, and he's Jewish, so he doesn't eat pork, and they want pate at this function. So I was looking around, I was kind of thinking, oh, I'll just buy a bit of chicken liver pate. But lots of chicken liver pates have pork gelatin in them, or actual pork fat, or a bit of pork liver. So that's no good at all. So I kind of thought, well, I'll have to make a bit myself. Just a rough. It's only a cheap function, so I'm not gonna go like all out on this chicken liver pate. I'm just basically gonna fry off these chicken livers, and then so they're a little bit pink in the centre, not too much. And then we're just gonna blend them with some butter, season them of course. Got some salt and some pepper, but I'm not gonna go down the route of putting brandy in, or onions, or garlic, or herbs, or anything like that. It's just basically the seasoned livers with butter. So, chicken liver's pretty cheap, 400 grams there, but you just kind of need to go through them and just kind of pull out any bits of that don't look so good, like that. There looks like there's a little bit of greeny stuff in there, so we didn't want that. So, go through them, get rid of the greeny bits, and then just soak them in some water. I was always taught at college to use milk, but it just seems like a waste of milk to me, and water will do the job. It's just to remove any kind of, this is the water I soak them in, it's just going to remove any excess blood, so you get a better finish. And then we just fry them in a little bit of chicken fat, because chicken fat's what I've got around the house. And the basic ratio is, just wait until these caramelise a little bit better. They're going to spit everywhere because there's a little bit of water in them. So the basic ratio is, for the pate, 2/3 chicken livers, 1/3 butter. So there is about 350 grams worth of chicken livers, so that's 175 grams worth of butter. So we'll cook them. Hopefully they won't spit everywhere. Give them a little bit of colour, so we'll get some flavour that way. I think we'll make it nice and peppery actually. And then blend it up. I'm not going to push it through a sieve, not going to do anything like that. I'm just going to do a simple chicken liver pate. So, fry these off, fry those off, and we're back when we blend it all together, and we'll get rid of all this stuff. Safely. And then, see there, okay? So, a little bit pink in the centre will be nice. If you overcook liver, it tends to go grey. That's not what we want. But a nice brown colour, it's nice and buttery, will be delicious. The only problem with doing a special little pate, I'm going to put it into ramekins as well. So I'll put it into ramekins, and I've got a little bit of butter left over, which will melt and we'll just put over the top. The only problem, this is nothing to do with the pate, but the only problem with doing a slightly different pate for other people coming to a function, people will look at someone who's got something different and go, why have they got something different? I want something different. For whatever reason why. I don't know why. People don't like the idea of other people getting special treatment for whatever reason. But that's the only downside of that. Ooh, I might put a little bit of, that's a nice smell is that. The smell of frying livers is lovely. But anyway, so those are just about done. So we'll fish those out, let them cool slightly, and then we'll blend them up. You can go through all these and pick out all the bits of fat, but I'm not going to do that. I'm not in the mood. The function's cheap. I'm only prepared to put so much effort into it, and already having to do, supposed to be a set menu, having to do something different for other people when it's supposed to be a set menu, set starter, set main, set pudding, cheese and biscuits, just seems a bit annoying and a bit unnecessary because they don't want to pay me more. Anyway, so those are back done. We'll drain those in a bit of paper, we'll fry those off, and we're back when we blend it all together. Chicken livers are cooked, and the butter, the cooling, it's still a little bit warm, but the thing is the butter's a little bit cold. So I've just put the butter on top, and then hopefully the heat from the chicken livers will melt the butter as we're pureeing up. So it's just a simple case of pureeing up. I could do it in the food processor, but I can't really get that out, and I don't have to wash up all of that when I could just wash up this and this pan that I had in that I just washed up. Anyway, so just to see them. Okay, so blend, season, and then put in a pot. But you see how it's coming together. I'm just a little bit further away from the plug that I'd like. So how does that look? Now we just need to get a little bit of debris out the bottom of the stick blender. Charging my phone at the same time, so everything's just a bit of a mess of wires. So we'll just get any off there, and if there's any bits of butter, it'll all multiply up. So it's got a nice brown with a little bit of a pink tinge to it, and that's because we kept the livers a little bit pink. That can live in there for the second, and then this back on here, and just finish off the blending. There we go, that'll do. So we could put it through a sieve, I'll show you. We could put it through a sieve, which means, fancy kitchen terms, it's pass it through a sieve. So if we just put it through a sieve, push it through a sieve, that'll just get out any bits of, any lumps in there, any bits of sinew, any kind of other things, and we'll just have a smooth pate. But we don't need to do that. We don't need to do that. This kind of ratio of liver to butter works with all livers. I seem to remember I've made it with roe deer liver as well, and I used the same ratio, and it was delicious. I think roe deer liver is particularly good. I seem to remember my dad knew a landowner up in Scotland, and he regularly would supply my father with roe deer liver, and it was delicious compared to other types of deer liver. I don't know what it was. And it's not because one of them came from a stag and one came from a doe. So let's see how many of these we fill up. But these are, we should taste, shouldn't we? We'll use this to taste. No, we'll just give it a quick mixy round. See, it's smooth enough. That's good. It needs a little bit more salt. You can go really fancy with these, but you know, like putting brandy in and herbs and all that kind of stuff. But you know, it just starts. I just kind of think that that's all very well for fancy restaurants, but if you're just at home and you just want to make some chicken liver pate relatively quickly as a starter for Christmas Day. I'll put this video up before Christmas. I've got a backlog of videos. I've got like one coming out every other day for months and months and months and months and months and months. But this is just the kind of perfect thing to make for Christmas Day if you want something a little bit fancy, and you want to make it from scratch. You know, like to buy some chicken livers and to have some butter and just to have a go like this and see how it turns out, and then you can progress on to more complicated versions of it. You know, so you could make a chicken liver pate, a chicken liver parfait, which is another thing again, but just to fry off some livers and puree them down with some butter and make yourself a homemade pate, a basic one. I think that's a good starting ground. So, and unless the people that you're feeding are pate connoisseurs, they will never have tasted anything that tastes just quite as good as this. You can't buy, once you spend a lot of money, something that's going to taste as good as this. So, excuse fingers, but they are clean and they are useful. The food hygiene people would have a field day if they saw what I was. Hopefully, I'm not watching this. So, bang those down. Get them relatively flat. And we'll melt a bit of butter. We're not going to do clarified butter. We're just going to melt a bit of butter and put it on top. But we'll see, yeah, so we'll let those set a little bit. We'll just go around them with a cloth just to pick up any kind of bits like that. And then we'll seal them in butter and they'll last in the fridge for 3 days, 3 or 4 days, depending on how fresh the livers were and all that kind of stuff and how cold your fridge is. But 2 or 3 days. They'll taste better tomorrow, they'll taste better the day after, then they'll start to go downhill with chicken livers. They spoil kind of quite quickly and you just got to be a little bit careful. So we've just melted a bit of butter in a pan. Now you can see there's the milk, there's the butter fat on top, and then there's the butter liquids away underneath. So we just want this, we don't have to be too pedantic about this, but we just want to skim off clarified butter. The better, you know, the more care you take, the better job you do, but you know, we can go on forever and we get to a point of diminishing returns, but we can do something like this that takes what, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, depending on how many you're going to make, and once they're done, and then they're in the fridge and you just have to make a little bit of Melba toast. There's a video, I made a video about it and people will be very impressed. I'll give them as gifts, or if you're going round to family on Christmas Day or any kind of celebration, say that you do a starter. Take these round and people will think you're wonderful. They probably already think you're wonderful. Anyway, there's just a little bit away in that one, but we won't worry too much about that one. So just, it wants to be completely submerged underneath the butter, because that's what's going to protect it and just give it a little bit longer shelf life. But that'll be fine. So let those set in the fridge. They'll be even better. So it's Friday today, no, it's Thursday today. They'll be even better on Saturday. Sunday they'll be probably just about at the peak, and then they'll start to kind of go downhill after that. But there we go. Simple, rough chicken liver pate.